All right, so what's interesting is I woke up and I hear like I always constantly hear things going on around me, but when I woke up, I heard specifically I need to put this video on here. Um, I was hearing something in particular, and it's a woman, and a woman's told me she said I am a ziggurat. You will worship me. And where I come from, the people that I'm dealing with, they are predominantly white power. And but there's nothing wrong with that if that's what you're into, as long as you do it respectfully and as long as you keep your hands to yourself. But in Satanism, they do the same concept. They worship themselves. Lilith Aquino has a video, and in the video, there's nothing wrong with what she said. She said that she got to practice herself being a ziggurat, but she wasn't a ziggurat. She was an altar. So this ziggurat goes back to an older form of religion. Now, if you're a white power, think about this. The only white power ziggurat that's going to take over and give you power over the greater Sanhedrin of the greater 333, because the 333 BCE, this is when the Persians were the greater Sanhedrin, which extended probably all the way to Yuda. So, but in the Temple of Blood, if they are Libra 333 and they're going to take over and kill false prophets for the greater Sanhedrin, and that's their goal in the long run, I think, the only ziggurat that is going to get you to that point to overthrow the greater Sanhedrin is probably an Akkadian one. Because right now, I think they're trying to coalition on the board of the Sanhedrin as white power to overthrow it. And I think that they're doing it through this, it's called the Goretia or something like that, of Sparta. Sparta was allowed on the board of the Sanhedrin, but they had some alternate different function. And the reason why I think that is I think it goes back to the Akkadian ziggurats, because you have to realize during the Battle of Thermopylae, the Akkadians were the only ones that really showed up to fight against Greater Persia. Why they did that, I have no idea. Because if you look in their archives, they are the only ones that I know. Well, there's probably other white civilizations that are allowed to sit with Sparta, but the Akkadians are particularly one. And where I came from, there was a young man. His name was Pazuzu Alagrad, Alexander Lawson, and he was involved in this gang stuff that I'm experiencing. Except he had a trident on his hand. Then he tried to join the Bloods and he tried to join everything. You could see he tried to join everything, but then he started practicing ancient Mesopotamian religion for Tammuz, and like he was like sacrificing rabbits and blue moons and stuff like that. Ridiculous shit. And then he killed two people. But he's from my hometown in Alamance, so they did the exact same thing to him. He extended out there, and I think and then they killed him when he went to the prison system. They say that he killed himself. I don't think he killed himself at all. I think what happened is he changed his name to an Islamic name, and not only did they funnel money into his original name, which was Alexander Lawson, I think that they even went as far as with prison customs and different religious customs that nobody knows. Maybe they didn't. Maybe there's nothing there, but I think they funneled money into into his Islamic name, because when you change and adopt something to if he didn't have that trademark, then they can grift off of him. And in the government, they call it grifting. And I don't think this is actual proper government. I think this is a Temple of Blood. But if the Temple of Blood is going to overshadow the Sanhedrin within the board of Sparta with Trump's power, because Trump has some connections to higher powers within the government that are like almost shadow government. And there's nothing wrong with that. But if they're using him as a pawn and getting a lot of power just because they're connected to the FBI and had informants and all this crazy shit, and then there's so much other stuff that goes on behind the scene with religion that it's so far extended into Montenegro and around the world. And they have Apsu and all this stuff. These are powerful people. So when I wake up and I hear a woman and she says, "I am a ziggurat, you are going to worship me," I would highly suggest, if anybody's of intelligence and anybody's like actually knows that I'm not like crazy and I'm not bullshitting, look into the Akkadians as a way of sitting at the board of Sparta to take over the greater Sanhedrin. I don't even think that's in the books, But if you look it up, I think you'll find something there.